3rd Ave, they named them after British earls such as Arlington Street, Berkeley Street, Clarendon Street, all in alphabetical order. The Back Bay succeeded in becoming the neighborhood to live in Boston. They attracted the cultural institutions from downtown, such as the Boston Symphony Orchestra is here in the Back Bay. The Museum of Fine Arts is in the Back Bay. My alma mater, Northeastern University, is in the Back Bay. One of the churches relocated here because a lot of people moved here. When Tom Brady moved to Boston, he lived in Commonwealth Ave in the Back Bay. If you have time, it's not that long of a street. Newbury Street, which is 3 blocks over, is by far the nicest street to walk down in the Back Bay. At this intersection, you have decisions to make. You can check out on the right Trinity Church. It's a Richardson Romanesque, they call it. Mr. Richardson built this beautiful church in 1877, and it's considered one of the top 10 must-see architectural buildings in the United States. John Lafarge did the stained glass windows of it. It's beautiful. And then on the left you have 200 Clarendon Street, the old John Hancock Tower. And if you're kind of curious to see what you look like, you can see your reflection in the reflective glass. So your choice, Trinity Church, check yourself out. Yeah, most of you look pretty good. Yeah. Maybe all.
Yeah.
Here on the left is the Copley Plaza Hotel. It ordered furniture from England, and it had to delay its opening in 1912 because the furniture it ordered from England went down with the Titanic. Also, if you're a fan of Zack and Cody, The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, this is the Tipton Hotel. I never quite saw that. Is that a good show? Yeah, cool. All right. But it's supposed to be cool. It's supposed to be a cool show. I'm glad it is. It's a very pet-friendly hotel. They have a black lab named Corey that greets its guests. Kind of cool. We're in Copley Square, named after John Copley. He was a painter, but he had to leave Boston because he and his wife were Tories. They were loyal to the king, so he went back. Here on the left is my favorite building in Boston, the Boston Public Library. You can go in this stairs, marble steps, to a beautiful reading room. In the middle, there's a courtyard with a fountain and a cappuccino bar. So if you kind of miss that European feel, you can go in there and hang out. And then all the names you see on the second floor there are some of the authors. They have books inside there. The Boston Public Library was the first library system to let you take a book home. Before 1875, you had to read the book in the library. On the far corner here is the Old South Church. This is the Puritan Church. They moved from downtown to the Back Bay. And down here on Boylston Street, one of the retail streets, just 1 block down is where the finish line is for the Boston Marathon. Every April, over 30,000 runners come to the city. It's a good time. Get another look at the Trinity Church here. They had a rector or vicar in there named Philip Brooks. This guy, they loved this guy. He did the homily at Abraham Lincoln's funeral mass in Philadelphia. He actually was invited by Queen Victoria to give a series of talks in London. He also penned the words to Little Town of Bethlehem. They have a statue of him, you can see it on the right there, outside the church, one inside the church, and they etched them into the side of the church. So, great tribute to this guy. We're on Boylston Street, kind of your average retail. It goes all the way up towards and beyond Fenway Park, about 8 blocks behind us. 1 block over down the street, you quick glimpses of Newbury Street. Again, that's the cutesy street. Nice boutiques, place to get coffee, ice cream, something to eat. A lot of boutiques on this side of Newbury, and then kind of your average retail going down towards Fenway Park. When they were digging up Boylston Street to put in the green line, they came up with what they call fishing weirs. Fishing weirs are sticks that are stuck into a pond. At high tide, the fish go over the sticks. At low tide, they get stuck behind the sticks. The reason I mention it, these fishing weirs were over 4,000 years old. So it meant people lived on this peninsula for about 4,000 years. As you pulled it through the intersection, I'm going to have you look left. It's Covenant Church. It's on Newbury Street, and it's made of Roxbury pudding stone, which is the official stone of the Commonwealth of Mass. And it has 20 Tiffany stained glass windows in it. And more importantly, Nancy Kerrigan got married in this church that we promise you will see. And she didn't invite Tonya Harding. I don't know what's with that, you know? Probably goes to her. But has the tallest spire in Boston. That's that beautiful church there on the left. Boylston Street being the widest street in the Back Bay because it was geared towards retail. Has its own set of coffee spots and cafes to eat in. This old church here on the left is Arlington Street Church, and underneath this church is 999 of those spruce pilings that were pounded into the blue clay. This church has 16 Tiffany stained glass windows, and on a sunny afternoon like we're in now, you walk in that church, it's like a kaleidoscope. This was Mr. Tiffany's last work. He passed away during making these stained glass windows. He only did 16 of 20. Tiffany's father founded Tiffany's Jewelers, which is 1 block over at the beginning of Newbury Street. And also 1 block over is another church. It's called Emmanuel Church. Well, that church has, what's in its basement is unique. They have a puppet lending library. So if you need another dummy to talk to or another hand around the house, go over 1 block and to the right in the basement, pick out your puppet. Here on the left is the Boston Public Garden, the oldest botanical gardens in the U.S. That body of water, you're going to see some boats there. They're called swan boats. In 1877, Mr. Paget saw this German opera called Lohengrin, and in that opera, a German knight had to cross a body of water, and he saw a swan coming down the river pulling a barge, and he jumped on it, got over the other side of the river, rescued a damsel in distress. I think he lived happily ever after. But anyhow, he thought it was a great idea, got 8 swan boats, and his family runs that pedaling around the pond. Great first date activity. In 1901, with all the building going on in the Back Bay, it was a 50-year project. The water rats relocated into this pond. So in 1901, the Boston City Council got a couple of young alligators and they threw them in the pond and did a hell of a job. By 1903, we had an alligator problem. But then they allegedly captured them all and put them in Franklin Park Zoo. Here on this corner, Alexander Graham Bell, the father of the American detective novel, my mind's short, Edgar Allan Poe. That's where he was born, and he went down to Virginia and he came back. Here on the right is a softball field, and in August of 1978, my softball coach put me in right field because he had to on the rules, and of course the ball came to me, dropped it, lost the city championship. Up here on this hill, October 10th, 1979, Pope John Paul II said his first mass in the U.S. And looking to the left here, you'll see a Make Way for Ducklings statue. Make Way for Ducklings. Yeah, Mrs. Mallard and her 8 ducks, Jack, Cat, Black, Mac, Olac, and Pack. It's the official children's book of the Commonwealth of Mass. It's an easy read, though. It's cool. But the story goes, Mrs. Mallard was waddling down Charles Street with her ducklings when she needed help from a Boston patrolman to cross this busy intersection into the park. And they lived happily ever after. And as we make this turn, you look left, you're going to see an awning on a building, and that awning belongs to Cheers. It's the exterior of the building where the NBC sitcom from the 1980s was filmed. Charles Street in front of us is the retail street for Beacon Hill. We're going to be going up Beacon Hill. The first developed neighborhood of Boston. Charles Bulfinch was the architect. And majority of the architecture here is going to be federal architecture. You can tell that by the large windows on the second floor and then the very small windows at the top. You notice the numbers are in sequential order because they were never going to build behind me at Boston Common, because that was a cow pasture up until 1840. On this corner is where that Reverend Blackston had his first house here in Boston. The Boston Common is the oldest public park in the United States. And you used to bring your cows in the town. They were allowed to graze there. If you look to the right of a couple of doors here, you're going to see some purple glass panes. They're here because of a manufacturing defect from a German glass company. They put too much magnesium oxide in it. To the right, you see a body of water. It's called the Frog Pond. Many years ago, my older brother did try to drown me there, but he didn't succeed. He got yelled at by my parents. Here on the left is statue of John Fitzgerald Kennedy, and the red brick building is the current Massachusetts State House. Both Paul Revere and Sam Adams laid the cornerstone of that building in 1795. Here on the right is a monument to the 54th Massachusetts Regiment. This regiment was the first all African American regiment to be trained in the North to fight in the South. Robert Gould Shaw was the leader. The gates to the Massachusetts State House here are closed unless when a governor leaves office, they open them, or when a regiment such as the 54th Regiment retires its colors. Okay. And when the head of state comes to visit. Over here in the corner is Mary Dyer. She looks sad, and for good reason. She came to Boston in 1640, and she was told by the Puritans here, "You're not welcome here, you're a Quaker." So they told her you have to leave, so she went to Rhode Island. A few years later, she came back to Boston along with 8 other Quakers, and the Puritans hung all of them on Boston Common because, again, you could not live here unless you were a Puritan. John Adams, our second president, used her martyrdom to put the freedom of religion into the state and then federal constitutions. We're going down the backside of Beacon Hill. Beacon Hill is lined with gas lanterns and red brick sidewalks. During the latter part of the 1800s, the majority of the African American community in Boston lived here in Beacon Hill. It had two locations on the Underground Railroad. First one was called, first, the Underground Railroad is where enslaved people from the South working their way to Canada would stop at set locations where they were provided with food and lodging. And one location here is called Hayden House. And Mr. Hayden, an ex-slave himself, he would have a couple of kegs of gunpowder by his front door. And when the slave hunters came a knocking, he gave them a choice to either come in and go to heaven with him or come back another day. The second location is this church you'll see as we make a right-hand turn, the Old West Church. Also on Beacon Hill, the first African-American published poet, Phyllis Wheatley, grew up. She was an ex-slave that was taught by her master, but her poetry sold well, both in U.S. as well as in Europe. And she wrote a poem to George Washington that became famous. Behind me is, this whole area behind me and to the left, right, is Government Center. It was the subject of it was part of a massive urban renewal project in the 1960s. This building is called the Hurley Building. It makes some people hurl. It was considered the ugliest building in Boston on a survey done by Bostonians. It is brutalist architecture. Mr. Rudolph was the architect, but he tried to create the impression, he claims, if you look at it from the sky, of building a sandcastle off Cape Cod. I just call it ugly. It does have a couple redeeming qualities I'll show you at the end of this building. To the left is what was known as the West End. Leonard Nimoy of Star Trek grew up in the West End. It's considered the greatest neighborhood this side of heaven. They tore it all down and in the 1960s put up these buildings. This Hurley building, if you saw the movie The Departed, you would have seen Leonardo DiCaprio and Matt Damon running up and down this staircase here. And also, if you look at the staircase, there's a white sign, and above the white sign, it might look like a frog, a mouth and two eyes of a frog. The mouth, poor frog is an overbite, but he puts in cutesy stuff in his building. So you might see it, maybe you need a little more coffee, but that's Kermit. If you haven't seen the movie The Departed, see it. Great soundtrack. Dropkick Murphys, a Boston-based band. Very good. Also, that movie was about Waddy Bollinger. He was a Boston gangster from the South Boston section of Boston. Going across Causeway Street. And what's on Causeway Street? The Garden. How many people are from New England here? All right, couple. All right. So I have to be honest and truthful. But yeah, the TD Garden is right behind the Tip O'Neill building here. This is the federal building. And what happened 3 weeks ago at the Garden?
Hey, we won the championship.
There he is. The Celtics won the World Championship. Also home to the Boston Bruins and a concert venue. You get little glimpses of the Garden between the Tip O'Neill building and the Avalon building. Built in 1995. Finally, we got an air-conditioned venue in the city. It was brutal in there. On the right, you get to look at the Leonard Zankin Bunker Hill Bridge. It's the largest cable-stayed bridge in the United States. Leonard Zankin was a community activist. He brought communities together. He had a friend named Bruce Springsteen, and during the dedication ceremony in 2004, Bruce Springsteen came up and he did a concert on that bridge for his friend Leonard. Kind of a nice event. Just on the other side of that bridge is Charlestown, and you can see another rigging of the USS Constitution, the oldest active naval vessel in the world. You're talking about War of 1812 warship here. Free to go on. If you like playing pirate, it's fun. All the cannons still work. They shoot them off at 6 a.m. in the morning and 6 p.m. in the evening. And they go out in the harbor 4 times a year and exchange cannon fire with Fort Independence. We get a first look at the Charles River here on the right. It does look inviting. And up ahead is the Green Line, part of the Massachusetts Bay Transportation Authority. This Green Line will take you to Fenway Park. We also have a blue line that goes underneath the harbor to Logan Airport, and the orange line goes north-south of the city, and the red line will take you to Harvard, and the purple line takes you out to the suburbs. As we make this turn on the right, I'm going to have you look right, and you're going to see the Bunker Hill Monument. The Bunker Hill Monument, you see here, is in Charlestown. And what occurred during the siege of Boston, Boston was locked down. So on the morning of June 17, 1775, General Gage of the British forces woke up to find an earthen works at the top of Bunker Hill. So he ordered the British Navy to fire and try to remove the militia groups that were gathered there. The British Navy succeeded in burning Charlestown down to the ground, but the militia groups stayed defiantly at the top of the hill. In fact, one colonist's name was Prescott. He was dancing on top of the earthworks. So then General Gage asked General Howe to send over 2,100 British troops. They got in their boats, went over to Charlestown, had lunch. Then they did 3 different assaults up the hill. On the 3rd assault, they were successful in removing the militias, but it came at a heavy cost. They lost over 1,100 of their British soldiers and a third of their officers' group. The British had trained the colonists that you always shoot the best dressed soldier on the field first, because there's a good chance there'll be an officer. As you make this turn on the right, you're going to see a piece of the Berlin Wall on your left at the entrance of this building. The Berlin Wall separated East and West Berlin. And if you notice graffiti, which would have been on the West Berlin side, and then clear on what would have been the East Berlin side. It's here because Mr. Holt, he broke down barriers in education, and on his 50th birthday, they gave him a piece of Berlin Wall as a birthday present. Kind of unique, kind of still. Now have turn on the radio. It's communicates with the U.S. Coast Guard and the Massachusetts State Police Marine Unit. We have life vests for 90 pounds or more on the left, with the yellow tabs, life vest for 90 pounds or less on my side with the red, life ring in the front, life ring in the back, fire extinguisher in the front, fire extinguisher in the back. All the windows are open. It's an emergency exit if needed. A third of the roof can be slid forward. Lynn is certified by the U.S. Coast Guard as a captain. And keep all your arms and legs inside the dock. There's a couple of tight turns at the bottom. We're going to turn the horn. Oh, I like the outquack of an approaching duck. So, upon my command, feeling lucky? Very well done. We've won that. Very good. As we enter the water, Lynn will sound the horn. The horn is necessary so lets whatever watercraft is on the river know that we're coming in.
Which one? Which one?
Those.
Oh, those.
But that's a dark blue. They probably still there. We might go meet them.
Oh, 3 of them? 4 of them?
Yeah, 3 of them. I probably did more than them.
Over here on the left, if you're a Ben Affleck fan and saw the movie The Town, Ben Affleck actually in the movie worked during the week at Boston Sand and Gravel, and on the weekends he robbed banks with guns. That's kind of what that movie was about, The Town. Which my wife's from Charlestown. They kind of summarizes some of her friends. It's crazy how many of her. I never knew a bank robber in my life. She knew several. It's insane.
Junior. Right here. Look.
Oh, oncoming duck.
Mamibis ka lalo doon. Nakita niyo yung amoy na gusto dito.
Feeling lucky?
What?
Oh, wow, 2-0. Excellent.
You said be careful that when you get to the water, you can go
Here we go.
You're really going to get in the water when that thing going to change. That's why he said be careful, don't get too close to that thing. You might go and drop anything in the water. You want to turn to a boat. Take a
Okay.
picture of that.
It's all still recording.
Welcome to the Charles River. If you, to the left is how you get out to Boston Harbor, and that's where the new dam is. We're going to the right, we're going upriver towards Waltham, Watertown. I don't know if anyone ever heard of Pocahontas. She was an Indian princess down in Virginia. And in 1614, she was married to an individual called John Smith. John Smith had a good job, so she married well. His job was a mapper. King James VI of England instructed John Smith to map out the New England area. And with that, he sent the maps back to England. King James VI had a son named Charles, and he went to little Charlie. You can name anything you want on this map, and he picked the Charles River among other things. Charles River starts in Hoppington. Anybody know what starts in Hoppington?
And a race.
A big race called the Marathon. The runners take 26 miles, 365 yards to get to Boston. The Charles River takes over 80 miles. It's a meandering river.
Wow.
And over time, it became a very polluted river. by 1972, people started singing songs about it. Dirty Water by the Shondells. They're a California group that never saw this river but still shamed it. With the passage of the Clean Water Act in 1972, the river slowly became clean, and now it's swimmable. They actually have a swimming event. I think it's in 2 weeks. I don't know if I do that, but yeah, it's getting there. We're waiting for this big barge going through the old canal here. So in front of us is the old dam, and the new dam. The purpose of both dams is to keep the river high, this high, so that the over 1 million spruce trees they pounded into the blue clay of the back bay can never dry out, because if they dry out, they would start to crumble, and a lot of the older buildings would start to crack. Kind of a construction technique they use both in Amsterdam and Venice.
It's a ringer.
The new dam, which is to the left there, the red brick building, it was built in 1978, finished in January 1978, and not a month too soon, because in February 1978 we had a big blizzard of 78, and we had a 14-foot storm surge, which would have flooded the back bay, but because the old dam only could handle a 10-foot storm surge. But this current dam handles 60-foot dam surge. The building you see over there on the left is the Suffolk County Jail. It kind of looks like a hotel, although each room does have its own bar or bars, but it was purposely designed to look like a hotel, because when they redid the West End, the residents didn't want the same old ugly jail that was there, and they built this. It's actually not a bad building. Probably wouldn't want to stay there. We're going under a bridge named after George Washington's apothecary, the Andrew Craigie Bridge. Okay. I think you know her, right? Yeah. Steph? There you go. Yeah, 30 seconds of fame. I know. So behind me is Cambridge, which the Puritans also founded. They called it Newtown. There we go. Guys, good. While they were over there, they founded a university. You want to get into the world? So trade off. There you go. An individual by the name of John Harvey came over from England, and he stayed in the. He moved to Charlestown, and within a year he passed away. And he gave all his books and half his wealth. Want to give this a shot? Yep, there you go. To Newtown College, and they renamed it Harvard. Nice little spray. Cambridge, which is behind me, is a very serious dude there. Look right. There we go. All right. Thank you. He is its own city and county. Thank you. Up ahead is a bridge called the Longfellow Bridge. Very nice. The Henry Ward Longfellow was a poet.
Yeah, I'll go.
He grew up in Cambridge. Oh, sorry. Oh, good. Well done. And, sir, step down. Oh, you're welcome. If you look, the tallest building over there, the glass building, is 200 Clarendon. We went by it. And the building to the left is John Hancock Tower, one of the oldest skyscrapers. On the right is Prudential Center. There you go. Welcome. Gee, my man. Yeah. There you go. Watch your mirror there. Handbrake. Put your hands on the wheel. There we go. You're driving that. There we go. Thank you. How about you? No? Okay. Yeah, we're gonna. Mark, you gotta do it, Mark. Yeah. Sorry, English. Yeah. This is my first cousin from Manchester. He's a Man City guy, so you can fool him if you want. Up ahead, if you look at the bridge apartments, you might see what looks like a couple of boats coming out of the bridge apartment. You actually smile, my God. It's the Harvard professors thought the Vikings explored this area a bunch of years ago. Well, we're going to go all the way back, yeah? And if you look under the third arch, you see the hatch shell. Oh, you want to go? No? So? Over here? No? Blue? So? No? This guy? No? That? No? You right? No? There we go. We got this guy. We have another customer. Look left and you see the gold dome of Beacon Hill. They had to paint that black during World War II because the German U-boats, they didn't want to give it an easy target of where Boston was. Boston only had one tall building back then. And then left, right, yeah. There you go. I'm going to give you more time. To the left there, you see a cupola on top of an older building. That's the old Charles Street Jail. All right, you can come. It was condemned by the federal government as uninhabitable in the 1990s. And they put a luxury hotel in there. There we go. red triangle to this bridge is the back bay. There we go. Wait for there a sec. No, I know. You gotta keep an eye on him, I know. He can be dangerous. But he's doing a good job. He does it without looking. I'm impressed. Yeah. Watch your step. And then this boating here, where all the sailboats came from, is called community. Okay, community boating. No, yeah, you're gonna do a hell of a good job. Yeah. Well, here you go. Oh, I gave you both. And then, sure. In the woods here, you see a footbridge. It's called the Penny Appleton Footbridge. You get one anyhow. Yeah. The Penny Appleton was the wife of Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. They were together in life, and the bridge designers put them together forever. Isn't that cute? Watch your head on the